Hi everyone, I'm Sarah and this is my channel, So Sarah Sewed. In today's video, it's just going to be another Sunday sewing catch up. I've had a really big week sewing wise and I hope you'll stick around and find out what I've been up to. If you watched my video last week, I did mention that I thought this video would be kind of a little bit of my sewing from each day this week, showing what I'm wearing, showing what I'm working on because I've been on holidays. However, it wasn't very far into the week that I discovered that this would be a very boring video if I was showing you what I was wearing every day, because it was basically just the same thing: tracksuit, pants, t-shirt, and a jumper every day, same thing. So I thought it would just be easier and more interesting if I showed you highlights of the week instead. I will quickly tell you what I'm wearing though today. I've just got on a Stellan Tee. This is a French navy pattern. It's a free t-shirt pattern and it's one I've used quite a few times before. It's quite a boxy fit. The sleeves are pretty wide and it's got a curved hemline. And I've made this just using quite a thick cotton elastane jersey from Spotlight. And I really like the colors in this one, so. All right, so I mentioned I was on holidays this week. I'm a school music teacher and I'm in the very fortunate position of having an extra week of holidays in September that my children don't get. So they were still at school, or at least one of them was still at school, because unfortunately my 9-year-old, he had COVID this week. So he was sick all week, which also sort of changed my plans. I was gonna get out and about a couple of times and I really just stayed at home. A couple of days I was minding him, a couple of days he was with his dad. But I was also kind of conscious of not wanting to get sick myself. So I took it really easy. Yeah, and I didn't want to have any big days out or anything like that. I've stayed relatively well. I haven't got COVID. So hopefully I stay that way and I can actually enjoy the rest of the school holidays. So the first thing I was working on this week is the Nell Dress by Tilly and the Buttons. This is one of Tilly's newer patterns and it's got a lot of variations. So there are different sleeve options, there are tie options or buttons, and there are different lengths. And I have gone with the most simple variation of all, the simple short sleeve button up sort of midi length dress. The pattern pieces for this one, there is a piece that's for the peplum, if you're making the peplum top, and then it gives you measurements for extending that into the skirt version. And I just went with the length that I could get out of my piece of fabric. Now this fabric was very kindly given to me by one of my friends. I work with Emma, who is So Emma on Instagram, if you follow her. And she very kindly gave me this piece of fabric. So she went to the warehouse sale of Variety Hour earlier in the year and I found this piece of fabric on my desk one morning, which was very, very kind of her. It's a beautiful bright print of pinks and whites and greens and oranges with this bold floral design on it. What I really like about the Nell pattern is the V-neck at the front. I think that really suits me, having that open V-neck there to just sort of balance out all my proportions. And it's also very comfortable on a hot day. Now I saw on Instagram posts that a lot of people size down when they're making their Nell dress. It's designed to be oversized and some people prefer a more close fit, but I like the oversized look and I also like the oversized feeling. I need to be able to move freely in whatever I'm wearing. At school, I'm often lifting my arms, whether it's to write on the whiteboard or to move things around or to conduct a group or whatever it may be. So I like to feel very much like I've got a lot of space in my tops. So I went with the size that corresponded to my body measurements. And for me, in Tilly and the Buttons patterns, I correspond pretty much spot on with a size 5. So that is the size that I made. It came together really, really nicely. I really enjoyed making this dress. I think I was pretty much finished the dress apart from the buttons at the start of the week. So my first thing that I did on Monday morning was head to Button Mania. I'm really lucky because I live within a 5-minute drive from Button Mania and it's just the best. So the ladies who own and run the shop are so helpful and yeah, they were great in helping me find buttons to match this dress. So there were a few options to think about with this particular dress, but I ended up getting this really cute pink flower button to match. And then luckily for me, the buttonholes went on really, really easily. Everything went smoothly, and I finished my Nell dress. So I'll put some photos in of me wearing it, and you can see that there is some space. But yeah, as I said, I like having that space, and especially in the hot weather. This is the sort of dress that I'll be wearing on a hot day, and having that airflow and just that space around my body, I know that this dress will be absolutely perfect. So I can't wait for hot weather and being able to wear it. The next thing I was working on was my Seneca shirt by French Navy Patterns, same people as who designed this t-shirt. This is a new pattern by them as well. It's a cropped boxy shirt, button-up shirt, and it really is quite cropped and quite boxy actually. When I went to Button Mania on that first day of the week, I took the fabric and I chose my buttons for this too, and then I was able to get this sewn up during the week. It was a really enjoyable sew. My favorite feature of this particular pattern is the pleat at the back, which you can see there. So the fabric I used for this one is a cotton ikat fabric that my parents bought for me in Bali earlier this year. My birthday was in April. They were in Bali in April, and they bought me 4 beautiful ikat fabrics for my birthday. So I've still got 3 of them I haven't used, but this was the first one I used, and lots of you helped me decide to use this one for the Seneca shirt. I had a few options, and this was the overwhelming favorite in the votes. And yeah, I think it's beautiful. So I'll put some photos of me wearing it. There are a lot of details that really make this shirt come together really nicely, and a lot of that is in the top stitching details. So almost every seam after you've finished it, she then says to top stitch it. So for example, at the back here where the yoke is attached, you can see there's 2 lines of top stitching there. So that just keeps the seam really nice and neat. And again, around the arm, the sleeves, there's a line of top stitching there too. Around the pocket, there's 2 lines of top stitching there as well. So yeah, everything just looks really neat, and I'm really, really happy with the way it came together. I think the trickiest thing for me with this one is finding out how to wear it, because it, as I said, it's very cropped and very boxy. So finding things that look good with this shape, I'm gonna have to think about it a little bit. I'll put some pictures in of me wearing it with some jeans. I think this looks good together. I think the slim leg jean works with the oversized shirt. I did try it on with some Pomona pants. It was just all too wide, I think. But I am also planning on making a skirt. So I think that this would balance out nicely with, yeah, maybe some shorts or that skirt idea. But yeah, I think this will be lovely buttoned up or worn open in the summer months as well. And I would recommend that pattern if you're into a cropped boxy look. I'll show you the buttons I used for this one. And there they are. They're quite shiny in some angles, but I think they work really nicely with the shirt. And again, from Button Mania. And here is my label. This was very apt, this label for this week. High on Sojo. And that's also a Kylie and the Machine label. So that brings us to the next pattern I sewed up. And again, this was another button-up design. It was the Lyra shirt dress by Tilly and the Buttons again. This one I made in a beautiful design by Dupes Designs that I had printed to order earlier in the year. And it's called Moonlight Ferns or Moonlit Ferns or something like that, on a dark blue background. And I got it printed on a tencel twill. I absolutely love this fabric, and I think it works really, really nicely with the Lyra. Now, I have been really enjoying making this week. I loved the way the bodice came together. I was absolutely loving it. I returned to Button Mania because I needed to get the buttons. I got to the point where once you've done the button placket and the collar, then you need to put the buttonholes in, because then you're going to sew those button plackets at the bottom together, and it would be hard to do those buttonholes later on. So I went back to Button Mania and I chose some lovely buttons, which again I think work really beautifully with this fabric. And so I sewed them on Friday, and yesterday I attached the sleeves and attached the skirt. And then I thought I would try on my dress and see how it's looking before I hemmed it. So the Lyra dress comes with a couple of different views for the skirt. You can just have one skirt piece, or there are a couple of different panels that you can attach to make a tiered skirt. Now, I decided to make just one skirt, but make it longer than the original pattern piece. So I just sort of guessed how much longer I wanted it. And so I wanted to try it on and see how I liked that length before I hemmed it. Now, this is the stage where things went wrong. I was so happy. I tried on the dress and I was absolutely loving it. I was thinking, gosh, it looks so good. I'm so proud of myself. It was quite an involved make for me. All the buttonholes went in really well. I'd hand sewn my buttons on and I was just really, really pleased with how it was looking. I felt like I'd done the fabric justice with this pattern. And then I looked in the mirror and I was like, I can see like a white line down the placket that I hadn't noticed before. And I got closer and I realized that I mustn't have cut through the buttonholes all very neatly, because I'd had, you know, when you put a button in and sometimes like one little strand will get caught around the button, and I must have pulled on that and made a great big pull where a thread had just come out right through the center of the placket, which is right on display when you're wearing it. So very upsetting. It was a point where, yeah, I'd been on such a high and I came crashing down so hard. I was so disappointed. So I put some pictures on Instagram, and my plan is to go to Officeworks after I make this video and get some like Sharpie pens, hopefully in a close enough color that I can just color in down that line and make it less obvious. It was looking so beautiful. I'll put a picture in of the placket before the disaster, because it was looking so nice. Yeah, and so I'm very disappointed. So I guess it's a lesson to me to make sure I've neatened up all those little extra threads around buttonholes in future, so this doesn't ever happen again. Yeah, and then I'll finish the dress. So I guess in my September makes video, I'll be able to share whether that worked or not and the final product. But in the meantime, you can see how it was looking. And yeah, I'll also put on Instagram if that pen works as well. So if you follow me there, you'll get to see earlier. But thank you to everyone who has sent messages of condolence and support and encouragement, because yeah, it was really sad. You know how it feels when you've put a whole lot of time and effort into something. And also, you know, it's a fabric that I chose myself. I chose the substrate. I chose the design. You can't do that anymore. And yeah, anyway, I'm sure you all understand. And hopefully I'll be able to fix it. I had a fabric delivery this week, and it is one that I've been waiting for a very long time. It's a Nerida Hansen fabric, and it's designed by Pascal Dilger, and the design is called Secret Garden, I think. I ordered this on the 1st of November 2023, and 46 weeks later it arrived. This has been an ongoing saga, this whole pre-orders with Nerida Hansen thing, and I think I'll do a separate video because there's just so much I could say. But anyway, one of my fabrics arrived. I still do have another one that hasn't arrived yet, and that was also ordered on the 1st of November 2023. So we'll see when that one arrives. But this one is absolutely beautiful. I ordered it on a lightweight linen fabric. I had a lot of people ask me during the year, because I was sharing on Instagram how long it's been that I was waiting for this fabric, and a lot of people were saying, why don't you just ask for a refund? And the answer is because I really, really wanted this fabric. That's one of the answers anyway. So it's kind of on a natural color background. and it's got all these beautiful flowers and foliage on it. And I got 2 meters of that. And I also ordered another design by the same artist on the same background, on the same fabric, because my idea was to make like a matching set, but combining the 2 fabrics together. I'm hoping that will work, and it's just going to depend on whether the colors are actually similar enough. I'm actually worried that the other one is on a whiter background, so it might not really work. So we'll see. But anyway, it was nice to finally get this fabric, and yeah, it'll be 47 weeks this Wednesday since I ordered, and I'm still waiting. So I'm thinking about making another video about all of that, just for people who are interested in my experience, because yeah, now I've actually been blocked by Nerida on the Instagram account because I kept asking questions. But yes, maybe I'll talk about that in a separate video. I did have to go to Spotlight a couple of times this week for thread. So I got matching thread for all of my projects. But because the Seneca shirt, as I was talking about, had so many top stitching details, I actually ran out of that thread color and had to go back for more. And when I was there the second time this week, I had a quick look through the poplin section and came across a fabric I decided I needed to have. And it's a Jocelyn Prowse design, and this is on a cotton poplin, and I think it's just a 112 centimeter width. So not a hugely wide fabric, but I'm hoping I can get a Cameron button up out of it. Now the Cameron button up is a pattern by Helen's Closet Patterns, and it's one I haven't made before, but I am planning to use it for my Precious Fabric challenge. So you might have seen my Precious Fabric video. That was, it's part of the vlogger tour for Tomcat Stitchery's Precious Fabric 24 challenge. And yeah, I thought maybe instead of just going straight into making that with my Precious Fabric, I should make another one first. So this is the fabric I picked up, and I just love the colors and I love the design. And so I've already washed and dried that, and I think that will be the next thing that I cut out possibly tonight and get a start on that. So the Cameron button up, there are 2 different sleeve options, and I'll just be making the short sleeved for this, and also for my Precious Fabric one as well, which if you hadn't seen it, it's this one, which is a Miss Moresby fabric, also by Nerida Hansen, or also purchased from Nerida Hansen. And I think that will make an awesome Cameron button up as well. If you saw my August Makes video, you will have seen me talking about my new Marlowe sweater, the cropped French terry black cardigan that I made. And you might remember that I talked about how the seams, this particular fabric, you can see it very easily there, or if I go like that, it frays very easily. And so it just looks messy on the inside. And I often like to have these cardigans undone, but I'm not really comfortable with having that on display. So I had quite a few comments of advice on that video, and a lot of people were suggesting I could just cover those up with some bias tape. So at Spotlight, I picked up 5 meters of 1/2 inch cotton bias binding, and I'm hoping I can just wrap that all the way around that seam that goes all the way around the neckband. And that will be one of my jobs for this week too. The other thing I've been working on this week is my knitting, and this is the Instant Crush Pullover by Joji Locatelli, and it's a colourwork jumper, and it is my first experience doing colourwork, and it's taken me a long time. But I am now onto the sleeves, which is very exciting. When I finished the bodice, I did try it on, but for some reason I didn't take any pictures, so I'm sorry, I can't put any in. I have to say though, it was snug. It fit, but it was not kind of that kind of cozy, oversized. Well, I was not expecting it to be oversized, but I was expecting it to have some kind of ease around the tummy at least. I wasn't expecting any around the bust, but I thought there might be some around the tummy because that is a smaller measurement for me than my bust. But there really wasn't. So that was a surprise. Anyway, I'll continue on with it. and I am partway through my first sleeve now. The sleeves are coming together quite quickly. They're, you know, there's not very many stitches on the needles, so that comes, each round gets knitted up quite fast. So hopefully I'll finish at least one sleeve this week and then move on to my other one the week after, because I'd like to get this finished and just start another project. It's just been, I was loving the color work at first and really enjoying seeing that pattern come together, but I think I'm ready for something without color work next. And maybe I'll try another color work pattern next year because, yeah, as I said, love the design, but I find it slow going. So that was my very productive week in the sewing room. Pretty much from Monday to Friday, I was just at home with a couple of trips to Button Mania and Spotlight, a couple of walks thrown in there, but that's why I was able to be so productive. Yesterday was a different day. I had a lovely day catching up with friends and had my children's guitar concert, so I was out yesterday, but yeah, apart from that, it's just been a very much kind of a sewing retreat kind of week for me, and that's been lovely. And yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing with those projects. I actually went to one more shop this week, which was really exciting. It was one I hadn't been to before. I was meeting up with my friends yesterday for lunch in Carlton, and that's on the opposite side of the city to me. So I don't get over there very often. And I thought, while I'm in the area, I'm going to head down to Maker, also on Lygon Street, but further down in Brunswick. I've been following Maker store for ages on Instagram because they have beautiful wools. They sell a lot of independent dyers wools. Yeah, and I wanted to go and have a look. I did go with specific items in mind that I wanted to get, and they were needles for my next project. Now, because I'm coming to the end of my Instant Crush with working on the sleeves at the moment, I know I'll be looking for my next project soon. And I have got the Whitmore cardigan by Amy Loudon on my Make 9. So that is going to be my next make. And I've just actually purchased online the wool this week too. So I'll show you that when that arrives. But I looked through the pattern and looked at which needles I'll need and whether I had them all. And there were a couple I did not have. So I just went and bought some bamboo double pointed needles in 2.75 millimeters and also a 12-inch 4 millimeter circular needle, which will be really good for the sleeves. So they were both listed on the pattern as needles that you'll need for the project. And then while I was there, of course, I looked at all the wools and I thought, oh, I'm gonna get some to make a West Knits shawl from one of his past mystery knit alongs. I'm not doing this year's mystery knit along, but I thought I might choose one of the old ones to do because I do love knitting shawls. And I went and chose a whole lot that I loved, and then I decided to put it back. I do not need it right now. I've got my next project all sorted. That will take me months anyway. Just put it away and I can come back another time. So I'll put some photos in of the beautiful shop, but apart from the needles, I didn't buy anything else. So I felt quite good about that. And yeah, I'll definitely be back to that shop someday. It was really nice to actually go and see the wool in person. I've only ever been to one other wool shop in person. All the other times I've bought wool, I've been buying online. So you're just looking through a screen, you can't touch it, feel what it feels like. So it was lovely to see it in person. And I think that, yeah, when I do decide I'm ready for my next project, it would be nice to go back there and actually choose the wool in person. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing what I've been up to this week. I am looking forward to another productive week this week. It won't be as productive because I'll have my children with me. We'll get out and about a couple of times. And I've got my parents' 70th birthday lunch this Friday. When I planned to make the Lyra dress, that was the event in mind that I had that I'd like to wear it to. So hopefully the weather will be nice enough that I can do that, and that I'm happy with the finish once I've got those pens and try and fix that. So I will look forward to seeing you in my next video, and I hope you have a lovely week. Bye-bye.